Hello again, and welcome to Preparation for Google Certified Educator Level 1. This is Session 6. Please take a moment and register at the URL you see on your screen, or you can just click the QR code or take a picture of the QR code right there on the screen. My name is Brett Petrillo. I am indeed a Google Certified Educator and Trainer. You can follow me on Twitter at Brett Petrillo. You can also get to my website, brettpetrillo.com. This is preparation for Google Certified Educator Level 1. And just a little bit before we continue, this is the first level of training. And afterwards, you will have to take the Google Certified Educator 1 exam. It costs $10, and when you pass, you'll be able to use this handy-dandy badge right there on your screen. You can put it on your signatures or any documents that you want to put it. But I want to stress that I do not give you the badge. Google is the one that will test you. Google is the one that grades your test, and they award the certification to you. It is not I. And you get it there at the training center, edutrainingcenter.withgoogle.com. And there's a whole lot of useful stuff at this webpage. I recommend highly that you go and tour around this site, and it'll give you all sorts of preparation questions and practice and a lot of information that you will find handy. And just looking back to last week, we talked about Google Forms, specifically with settings and formatting and the new quizzing feature. We took a look at branching and sharing your forms and how to read the data that you get with your forms. And we also explored some other cool ideas. So that was during Session 5. This week, we are going to focus on Google Slides, specifically the tools and settings, themes, layouts, the really amazing audience tools section, and the Explore feature. And we will also be talking about Google Drawings, and specifically settings, creating flowcharts, importing, and some other cool ideas or cool things you can do with Google Drawings. Now, without further delay, let's begin with Google Slides. All right, now getting started with slides is very similar to all of the other apps. You can either type in slides.google.com, which will take you to this screen right here. You can also, if you've downloaded the app, go into your apps within Google Chrome and click on Slides. Or what I like to do is go to my Drive and I can click on New, scroll down to Slides. And just like the other ones, I can start a slide show from a blank presentation or from a template, which will take you back to that slides.google.com screen. For now, I'm going to start with a blank presentation just to run you through a little bit of the features of Google Slides. Now you can see after I've opened up a new slideshow, it is indeed untitled, and I can click to add a title. It's all right there. Also in the right side, it offers me to choose some themes that I potentially could use if I like one of them. We're going to talk about themes in a little bit. Over here you have one slide that is currently open, and then you have some options here. For example, this little plus sign, if you hover over it, it'll tell you exactly what it is if I wanted to add a new slide, and you can see that. Now you see that my second slide is chosen based on the blue square around it. If I want to go back to my first slide, I just click on it and I can edit all that I wish there. I also have the standard options up here in the top that I'm getting with all of my Google apps. Under File, I have open, new, import slides, which is a great feature. You can import them from a different presentation. You can download as, and now this is a great feature I'm going to talk about in a second. And you can email collaborators, email as attachment. So that's pretty standard. Option in file. In editing, you get all of your editing options. In viewing, you can go to present mode right from the view option. You can also go over here to the top right hand corner and click on present, and that also takes you to the presentation mode. We're going to talk about animations a little bit, but this is where you get them, and also master. Here you have whether or not you want to see it at 50% or 200%, zooming in and out, all of that stuff. And insert, typical, just like the other apps. You can insert images and charts and videos, and you can, over a slide, you can also insert a new slide under that option. You can duplicate slides there, or you can also duplicate by two-finger clicking on the actual slide. And it gives you all of these options, two-finger click or a right click if you're on a PC, and you get all of those options as well, just by two-finger or right clicking. And then you have in formatting, and notice nothing is highlighted in formatting because I don't have anything selected in my slideshow. I'll show you about that later on. Arranging, you get some tools. You can get to the Explore feature, which is we're going to talk about later as well, and tables and help if you have questions. So that's pretty standard. And you also have down here the menu bar, the option bar. You can print right from there. You can undo, redo. You can insert text boxes or images or shapes right from there. You can change the background or the layout and choose a theme and transitions, all right from that bar, which becomes super handy. It's right there ready for you to use. These themes, when they're clicked, have an effect on every slide in your presentation. So let me do one, for example, this beach day theme. If I click on it, my slideshow will automatically take on that theme. This one's fairly white, but you see in my first titles slide has this green title down there at the bottom. Or in my slate theme, I can click on that, and it changes the fonts of your titles as well as any background color that might be added there. So this one here, coral, and it starts with that, and the second slide has a red line down at the bottom. Now this is what we call the layout. I'm going to go back to just a basic theme so that I can tell you about the layout. Now you see this box here, there's two of them. They're text boxes on your screen. That is the layout of that slide. Notice the second slide has a different layout. You can change the layout of your slides by going up here to slide and change layout or apply layout. You can also change the theme from this screen here or apply layout. And now you see that there are several different layouts that each slide can have depending on what you want it to look like. Now, if you don't want a layout, it's simple enough as to just to go into your slide and to click on the option that they give you and just delete it. And once I do that, there is absolutely no layout. It is just a blank slide with no pre-programmed formatting involved at all. All right, let's explore some of these a little bit more, and let's start with the insert option here. Just like in Google Docs, if you click on insert an image, you have the standard image insert or insert image window that pops up, and you can choose from anywhere. You can choose to upload from your computer, snapshots. But a really good feature here, just like the other apps, is that you can search right from that window and choose an image that you wish to put in there, and it'll pop up. So if I search water, yeah, you get an image, and I can just click on it and hit select, and it'll put it into my slide. And similar to the other apps, I can adjust the size of my image just like such. So that's inserting images. If I don't want it anymore, I can just delete. And I can also insert charts. Now this I haven't talked too much about in the prior sessions, but this is also similar to the other apps where you can go in there and insert a chart. What's cool, and I'll use a pie graph right there. If I just click on that, it'll insert one, and you notice that the data itself is kind of made up. This doesn't really make any sense at this point. But this is super neat. If I hit this expand button, it says open in sheets. And what happens is it'll pull up a sheet for me that I'm able to manipulate. And if I manipulate this data, it'll automatically change in the chart that you see right there. And I can move that out of the way, manipulate the data. The chart will automatically change, and when I go back to my presentation, it'll be changed there as well. So that is a super cool feature about how to insert a chart into your slide. Also, you'll notice here, I don't know if you noticed already, but you can insert charts right from a sheet that you already have. So if you have some data that you've already collected, perhaps you have data from a form that you sent out, you can input or insert a chart right from that sheet that already exists. You also have the ability to insert videos. And this is a fairly new feature with Google Slides. Typically in the past, you would just see this screen here where you would insert from YouTube. And that was your only option. But Google Slides has updated now that you can insert by a URL. So if you have the YouTube URL there, or the other option is if you have it in your drive already. So if you have a video in your drive, but not on YouTube, you do have the ability to insert that right into your slideshow. And let me demonstrate how that works in a presentation. So let's say I'm going to choose one of my videos, perhaps number 5, that was the last one. So I just Google searched my name, I searched my name there in that YouTube bar. I'm going to select this video, and when I hit select down at the bottom, the video pops into your slide, and you can adjust it just like a picture. So if you want it nice and big, you can adjust that. Then what the audience sees when you're presenting, and let me just go to present mode here by clicking on this button in the top right, the audience will see this on that slide. And the way you present it is by going over there during your presentation and hitting this play button. But you also have the option of having it play automatically. When you 2-finger click on your video, you can go to video options, and what will pop up over here is your video options, and you can start at a certain time and you can finish at a certain time, so you don't have to present the entire video in your presentation. You can just have a piece of it. But then down here you can choose to auto play it when you're presenting. So as you hit the next button or the button on your clicker and it goes to that slide with the video on it, it will automatically begin playing the video. And if you don't want the audio, you can click that and mute it. But that's just to show you there. And how I got there again is just by 2-finger clicking or right-clicking on the video itself and going to the video options, which is right there. All right, so that is inserting a video from YouTube or from your Google Drive. You can also insert word art, and let me show you that. So it opens up this little window right there, and let's say that I'm just putting my name there as word art. It says here, use enter to save it or shift key for multiple lines. I'm just going to save it, and you see that it pops up there. as word art. Now I can edit the type of font by just going up here and choosing a different type of font and having it look the way I want it to look. I can change the color by going up here to the fill bucket. And let's say I wanted blue, it'll just change that right there. I can also rotate it, I can skew it a little bit, make it bigger. I can do as I wish with that. So that is inserting word art, which can come in handy, add a little bit of creativity to your document there. All right, let's delete that for now. You can also insert lines and shapes and everything right there. You can, those are the shapes, inserting tables right into your slide. All of that becomes super handy, and slide numbers you can put in as well. Let me talk about animation right now, but before I do so, I need something on my screen. So I'm just going to insert a shape. Let's pretend here that this arrow is what I want. So I've got this arrow right there, and let me make it nice and bright so you can see it. Okay, so I have an arrow on my screen, and when I have it selected, you'll see that blue box pops up around it, and I can manipulate it just like anything else, making it bigger, smaller, or rotating it. But if I want to insert some animation, so as I go through my slideshow, it will show up in different ways. I go to Insert, and I click on Animation. Now you notice this option over here on the right hand side changed, and I can have the option to have my arrow there that I have selected fade in on a click. Now that's just the default that is optioned there for me. I can change that. Right there it says fade in. I have so many options where it can just appear, disappear, fade in, fade out, fly in from all directions, zoom in or spin in. And when you choose one, it gives you a bit of a preview by clicking play right there. So I just chose spin just for demonstration's sake, and I can go down here and I can do it on a click or with the previous animation, or sorry, after the previous or with the previous. So I'll just keep it on click for now. And if you have text, well, you can do it by paragraph. So it will show up as the animation will appear with each paragraph. So if you have 2 paragraphs, you would have to then click it twice. All right, and you can adjust the speed of the animation. Now for a preview, I would just click play down there, and you will see that if I hit next, it gives me the spin. All right, and then I can stop at the preview. Once again, you play, and because it's on click, I have to click, and there you have it, a preview, and I'm just going to hit stop there. Also at the top of this animations, you have slide transition options. And if I click there, right now I don't have any transitions, but I can choose to fade the slide in or flip it in or cube it. You can play around with those. I would suggest with your students, however, that you put in some limitations there, because often, in my experience, students can spend so much time adjusting slide transitions and animations that they end up wasting time in essence. And when they're presenting the presentation, it kind of gets a little bit distracting. So if you're going to allow your students to put in animations, then you might want to suggest some limits, maybe 2 or 3 total, or that type of thing, or just not have them do it at all. But that is completely up to you. So that's where you get your animations, is up here into Insert Animations, right there. Now I want to share with you one of the ways that I use Google Slides, and it is surprising, but it has nothing to do with presenting. And what I do is I end up creating posters and displays from Google Slides. This has become very handy. In fact, if you're on YouTube and you see my video thumbs, they are all created in Google Slides. What I do is I go up here to File, and you can go and set up the size of your page right there where it says Page Setup. When I click on Page Setup, it gives me some default options: standard, widescreen, different dimensions of widescreen. But then down here at Custom, it allows me to type in the dimensions of my slides. So this is very handy. For example, when I am creating my video thumbs with YouTube, I type in the proper dimensions, either in inches, centimeters, points, or pixels. You could also, for example, if you're wanting to create a header for your Facebook page or for your Google Plus page, a Twitter header, anything like that, anything where you have a specific dimension that you can just type that in right there. So you can go there, either standard or specifically your custom size right there. So I'll just choose that as a custom for demonstration purposes. Now I've got a custom size that I can work with, and I can insert anything that I wish. I can insert images like I've talked about already, lines or shapes, and I can create a poster here with text boxes and the such. And then once it's all set, and I would go up here to File, and I would download as a JPEG. So that would download the current slide as a JPEG and put it on your computer. Therefore, now you see it, you have an image that is the perfect size that you want to either print or post on anything that you want. And you've created it in Google Slides. So Google Slides has the potential to help you in designing things for presentation as well. Not just a presentation in front of an audience, but a presentation or the creation of a poster, for example. And I think that's a great tool. I use it all the time. It's a little bit outside the box as far as what people normally think of when you think of a slide presentation tool. Now I've opened up the editing side of this presentation in slides that I've created to show you a few things. I also want to point out the easiest way to make changes to your entire presentation at the same time. You may have noticed earlier where it says View, and I skimmed over it, but I said it, Master. When I click on Master, this screen here pops up. All right, you have some options here. It looks like slides, but it's not. This is actually how you edit the master slide, the master layout of your entire presentation. Or you can edit specific layouts to give them each and every time that you use that layout, it would have the same settings. And if the master, well, that just edits everything. That makes that every slide would have a certain thing. So let's exit out of there for a second. So you notice on my slide here, I've got this little logo, Certified Trainer, down at the bottom left. I've got my Twitter handle in my bottom right, and I've got my website right there. A little bit of branding. I want that to show up on every single slide, but I don't want to have to cut and paste it or copy and paste it into every slide. I just want to do it automatically. Well, that's where the master comes in. If I go to View again, to Master, and I click on this master slide right there, this master format, I just put in this image or these images where I want them to go. So it will show up on every single slide. Now, let me demonstrate. If I move this one for now, and I put it right there, so it has moved. And if I exit out of here, you'll notice that it has also moved on my first slide. And every slide thereafter, it has moved. And I can't actually click on it here and move it. That doesn't work. I have to go back into View and Master, click on the master layout, click back on my image, and then I'm going to put it back down to where I wanted it. All right, then you see that it'll show up on every slide. It'll have changed on every slide. So if I click on out of there, it's back where it should be on every single slide. So that's a way, if you are presenting in front of an audience and you want your website or your brand to show up, you would set that into the master. Also, if you have some layouts that you want to check or change the format or the fonts of your text, and you want it to change on all of that layout, you would do that here. Or if I want to make changes universally, instead of going back and changing the fonts in every single slide, I can make sure that the font, for example, for the title is all the same just by going right here and changing it within master. So I think this is a feature that not a lot of people know about or use, but it could definitely be a good test question. But this underneath View and Master, how you make universal changes to your presentation, not just doing it slide by slide. Here, View, and then Master, and you make those changes right within there. Down here at the bottom of your screen, you notice that there's a white space and a blinking cursor. This is really handy for when you're presenting. You can put notes to yourself here. So you can type anything that you wish there for you to be able to read or to jog your memory as you're presenting. Now, there's not, and I'll show you where that shows up when you're presenting in a second. But what you see is there's not a lot of space in here. And if I hover over these three dots right there, a little hand pops up, and I can click down and hold, and I can drag that up a little bit. And notice that my screen becomes, or my slide becomes a bit smaller, my slide preview. But I can put in quite a bit of text in here now to help me out if I need that in the presentation. So those are what we call speaker notes that you can write yourself to jog your memory or to help you out with some key facts if you're presenting to an audience. Now I'm going to do my best to show you one of my favorite features with Google Slides, and it is called the Audience Tools. And the way you get up there is up here where it says Present. You're going to click on this arrow, and you're going to click on Presenter View. And what you'll see is this square right there that pops up, and it shows Audience Tools and Speaker Notes. Now, if I click on Speaker Notes, it will show me all the notes that I've taken from my slides. And you see here's my current slide, here's my next slide, and I'm currently on slide number 1. And you can see down at the bottom, it is counting how long I have been presenting. So that is really handy. You would have that on your screen as the presenter. And if I hit next, it would automatically go to the next slide and show me the notes that I have and continue with my timing. Or I can drop down and jump to slides as well. I'm going to go back to the first one just for a demonstration here. So this is the screen, or this window here is the window that you would see on your computer. Your audience would see this screen back there, and it would be full, just like that. What I want to talk about now is this tab up there. It says Audience Tools. And you can see this is just click to present. It's also a way for your audience to interact with you as the presenter. It's the audience Q&A. Let your audience submit questions and you can answer them during your presentation. Now you see down here that I have continue recent just because I've done this before on this slideshow, or I could start a new one. Now I'm going to start a new one just to demonstrate what happens. So when I hit Start New, it turns it on, and then you have here a web URL that will be posted to your audience. So keep in mind, this screen that you're seeing right now is on your computer on the presenting podium. And right now, the feature, the audience tool is turned on. What that means is what your audience is seeing is this. So you have the slide that is being projected onto a big screen, and at the top of your slide, it is providing them a URL that they can visit on their device. So again, this is your laptop on the speaker podium. This is what you will be seeing. This is what your audience sees via the projector. And if they visit this URL, goo.gl/slides/2fzmwm, this is what they would be seeing on their device. And you can see that there's no questions yet from the audience. So it would be really simple for your audience to ask you a question, like, how do you do that? All right. Now, if you want to post that as an audience member, if somebody in your audience posts that question, they just type it into their device and hit submit. Then it pops up onto the screen. Other people in the audience can also see that question, and if they like it, they can give it a thumb up vote. Then now let's go back to what you see on your podium computer. So there's the presentation, and this is what you see on your podium computer. You see that person's question. How do you do that? You also see that it's been thumbed up. So as a presenter, you can interact with your audience, and if you see that there's a question that has been asked or thumbed up several times, you'll know that they really want it answered. So what you can do is then hit the present button. And just to make this very clear, this is what your audience sees. However, when I hit the present button, this is what your audience now sees. They see the question that has been asked. And they see by the person. If that person didn't hit anonymous, they would then see who asked that question. And that gives you a chance to acknowledge the question and answer it in front of the audience. When you've finished answering the question on your podium computer, you would then just hide it, and it automatically takes you back to the presentation. And if I'm here on my podium and I hit next slide and then next slide again, you can see that it is showing up in front of everybody. If at any time I want to check my speaker notes, I just go over here to speaker notes and take a look, and then go back to the audience tool. If at any time I choose to turn off the audience tool, I just go over here where it says on, and I click it to off. Now you can see that the URL at the top of the screen has been taken away. And the question still remains for your audience, however. So that is a wonderful way, in my opinion, to present to an audience, and then also allowing them to ask you questions without interrupting the presentation. And then if you feel that that question is in need of answering, you can pause your presentation and answer the question right there for everybody to experience. Just like in Docs and Sheets, the Explore feature has been added to Google Slides. And the easiest way to get there is if you go down in this bottom right-hand corner, just like Docs and Sheets, and you click on Explore. It shows up here on the right side of your screen. Now you can search Docs and the web right from your Google slide. So if again, back to my water example, if I'd clicked on water or searched water, it would give me some web results right there in Google Slides. If I'm looking for images just like that, I can find them and insert them into my presentation. I can also look through my drive and go through images or content that I have on my drive and put it right there into my slide presentation. The other feature here is that it will automatically suggest certain layouts for you if you wish. Now on my slide there's no selection or there's no suggestions coming up, but if I click down one or two, then you see this one actually does come up with a suggested layout. I have created my layout, so none of these suggestions work for me, but you never know. You might have a different slideshow and you might like some of these suggestions that come out. So there you have it. Explore has been added to Google Slides. You can find it right there in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, and it acts just like it does in Docs and Sheets. You can search the web, your drive, and you can also search for images right there, right within Google Slides. Now I've taken you back here to my drive. This is where we are going to open up a new Google drawing. And if you click on New and down to More, you see that Drawings is right there. Also, notice that there aren't options for templates. With all the other things we've talked about to this point, it has template options. For example, up here, Google Forms, I can do a blank form or from a template. Slides that we just talked about, I can go blank or from a template. Even Sheets and even Docs. Down to Drawings, there isn't the option. So when I click on that, it opens up a brand new untitled drawing with nothing on it, and you can see that right there on the screen. Now that's important. That could possibly be a test question where they ask you about drawing templates or ask which app does not allow you to have a template. Well, that is Drawings. Also note that when I opened that up from Drive, I could also open it up just by putting drawings.google.com, but it will also take me to this page right here. All right, there isn't a page like the other apps where it suggests templates. It just takes you right here. So this is the basic screen of Google Drawings. Google Drawings is something that I think a lot of people don't think of as being quite powerful, but in reality it is extremely useful, especially for teachers in the classroom. And if you're using any of the other apps, there is an incredible amount of integration that can happen there. Let me quickly go over what we have. This is your drawing paper. It is checkered because it illustrates that it is transparent, or that demonstrates or shows that it's transparent. It's not a white background. It is, in fact, a transparent background. And if I go up here to File, I get some of the common options here as far as making copies and downloading as. I can download as all sorts of different kinds, just like the other apps. I can edit right here, select all, that type of thing. The zooming, all of that is there. Now this one here, the insert feature, is something that you'll probably use the most with Google Drawings. You can insert things like text boxes, just like the other apps again, images, and again, if I insert an image, it takes me to the standard image insert screen here you get with all the Google apps, and I can search right there as well. I can insert charts, just like I showed you with Google Sheets, word art. Now the lines and the arrows and the shapes, they all become quite handy here with Google Drawings. And then I can format things once they've been selected, and I can arrange them, and I have tools available to me as well. Then underneath here I have print options, and I can get to those insert features quickly just by clicking right there. Now let me quickly just demonstrate a couple of these things. Here I'm going to insert a text box, so I have the crosshairs available to me, and if I just click down, that'll give me the text box, and then all these other options open up to me based on what the element is that I want to edit there. So I'm going to center my text. I'm also going to have the options of spacing there, and spacing within my text box, so I can have all the functionality of text is there in the box. And let's say I'm going to have this be my title, and I can change the sizing and changing fonts really easily, just like that. I can also insert, like I said, shapes, and take a look at the wide variety of shapes that we have there, or arrows, even callouts and equations. So that could be something very handy for math. Now I can just create my shapes just like that. Now notice that the default for the shape is a blue background. That can change really easily. Notice when I click on the shape that I've put in there, I get all sorts of different options. The fill color is defaulted to light blue. I can have it transparent, or I can choose a color. Completely up to you and what you want to create. I can change the line color as well. I can make the lines or the border around it transparent, or I can have it weighted as thick as I want. I've got all sorts of things that I can do, and I can play with that as or you can play with that as you like. I can insert lines by clicking there and just clicking and dragging, and there's my line. I can select my line and change the weighting of it, and also the color of the line as well. I can also move it around on the screen as I please. Like I said earlier, I feel that a lot of people feel that Google Drawings is fairly basic, and it might be compared to the other apps, but there are a lot of possibilities with it, and the level at which you can use drawings and what you know in drawings in the other apps is quite remarkable. Now I've opened up here a couple of the other apps to show you how it is very clearly integrated. This is a Google Doc, you can see, Untitled. And if I insert a drawing, I click on that, and you see that it opens up the window, or a very similar window to the one that we were just looking at in Google Drawings. I can create an image right there, like I was demonstrating earlier, and I can insert that image right into my doc, and that then becomes treated just like an image that I had searched for example, and I can manipulate it and make it bigger and move it around. So you see the potential when working with Google Docs, that how you can use Google Drawings to help make your doc better. And if I want to edit this image, I go down here to edit, and it opens up the editing window again. So if I wanted to add something to this, I could easily. And I can also add anything like text, for example, right there. text. Now, all I'd have to do to put it into the doc is just hit save and close. And there you have it. That was my image that I just created. The same can be said for Google Sheets, where you insert and go down here to drawing. And again, in Google Sheets, it pops up the same window that we just saw with Google Docs. And if I was to put in an image or something there, that shows up, save and close, and there you have it, right in Google Sheets. Now you'll notice with Google Slides that it doesn't have an insert drawing, but you can insert the lines and the shapes just like you did in Google Drawings. So it's not a separate feature that says Google Drawings. Otherwise, what you could do to integrate is you could go back to your original drawing where you created a new one, and you can download it as and choose whatever you want to have that image on your computer or in your drive, and then you'd be able to upload it into your other apps as an image. So it becomes quite a fun little tool to use in helping to make your other apps stronger. All right, I wanted to share with you some cool things that some teachers are doing with Google Drawings, or that you could do with Google Drawings. For example, here is a network tree that you could share out to your students or post into a document that you're sharing with them. Here, and the way this has been created is just by adding some shapes and some lines, and then they can put in text boxes there too. A timeline, similar thing, just putting in some squares, lines, and then adding a text box that they can type into. Or how about labeling the diagram? Now you see here you've got choices over on the left-hand side, and students can click on those choices and then move them to where they feel that that option should go, and they can put it anywhere they choose. Or how about a Venn diagram? What's good about Google Drawings and Venn diagrams is often I find that this middle section here that students run out of space, but when you're using a Google Drawing, these can be moved around to give more space. So if the student requires it, they can create more space. So those are just a few examples of how you can use Google Drawings to enhance your lessons with your students. And that brings us to the end of session 6. So please join us next week. We're going to talk about Google Hangouts and go over all those settings and notifications and talk about group chats. We're also going to dive more into Google Drive now that we know a lot about all of the apps. We're going to talk about sharing and organization of the drive and publishing to the web. Thank you very much for watching the video this week. My name is Brett Petrillo, and I will see you next time.